Redskins. I like what he did, with the Browns. If I remember right, Kyle Shanahan was there when Josh Gordon had his greatest, season as a wide receiver. He knows it's a building process. He wants to be a part of that process. The one thing is, no one's going to come in there thinking that he's going to save the franchise and bring them back to the glory years in that first full year that he played. But the question is he going to play it all this year? It's rumored that maybe he'll play, week 12 or after week 12, or they saying they may just, not play him at all. I don't believe that. I really do believe that, he's going to play. You're not going to trade someone and then just have him sit on the bench for another, 7 weeks? Nah. We need to figure out what this guy, got. We just gave her up a second round pick, for him. So this tells me, because they cut Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer was no surprise. The words kept secret. He went back to the Patriots. He signed a 3-year deal to be Brady's backup. This just tells me at this point right now, the draft has not come around, but this tells me that maybe the Patriots really do believe Brady can play until he's 45. Brady is 40 now and he's pushing it. But 45? But the Patriots will do what they always do. They'll probably take that second round pick and split it and flip it again and then get like a second and a third. They'll probably move down a little bit, because that someone said this is actually kind of like their pick anyway, because they're always picking near the end of the first round anyway. So this pick could be like second round, but 2.1, 2.2 maybe, just depending on, what happens with the Cleveland Browns. So this could be, a pick where they double up, where they take, the end of the first round and at the beginning of the second round, and they get 2 players. Patriots do it probably better than anyone when it comes to finding talent. Pittsburgh does it, very well as 2 when it comes to finding talent, from the college pool. So Jay Ajayi to the Eagles, Kelvin Benjamin to the Bills, Dwayne Brown to the Seahawks, and Jimmy G to the 49ers. Yesterday was like crazy. It was just like, what? You say what? What? Who? What? Now that happened? And it was just like, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? What's and it just kept going on and on and on. So that's why I liked it. I loved it. Unfortunately, my Lions didn't do anything, didn't get anybody. When the Jay Ajayi 4th round pick came out, I was just like, you got to be kidding me. You have to seriously be kidding me. This has to have been a conversation that only the Dolphins and the Eagles were having with each other. They only talked to each other. They FaceTimed each other. They didn't talk to anybody else. They didn't email nobody. They didn't Snapchat it. They didn't put it on the gram. They didn't send it on Facebook, or they didn't tweet it out that Jay Ajayi was available. That couldn't have been. They must have just called the Dolphins and said, hey, man, y'all want him or not? And then they worked out a deal, because I cannot see where the Lions' biggest problem is the running game that I've said so many times on this show over and over and over, and I'll continue to say it as long as it's a problem, is that you don't even get in the mix. I'm hoping that they got in the mix and that it just didn't work out, But I'm giving up a 3rd round pick, possibly a 2nd round pick for Jay Ajayi. In the Lions' current situation, in our current situation, I think it warrants being able to just throw a 3rd round or a 2nd round out there. I don't think anyone in the Lion community would have had a problem with that, even if Jay Ajayi didn't, pan out. But you got to get Matthew Stafford some help. So let's get off that. We're going to get also a little bit more trade news, but it's more of how this impacted. So moving on to Kirk Cousins. So now Kirk Cousins is in Washington, we know. I talked about it. Other people talked about it. Everyone pretty much pegged Kirk Cousins to be in Philadelphia. I mean, not Philadelphia, but in San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan. I said it just makes sense. He's played for him before. He know how to run the offense. He can go out there. They're going to give him a ton of money. It'll be out west, nice weather, all that good stuff. It made sense. And now Jimmy Garoppolo is there. So obviously, Kirk Cousins should not be going to the San Francisco 49ers at this point. So now it is, where are some landing spots for Kirk Cousins? And you can put this in the chat room since we're live right now. And you listen to the Wait a Minute show with your man Jelani JB Bodie. What are some landing spots for Kirk Cousins? I got 5 for you. And you can think, you can tell me, what you think about this. I'm getting a phone call. Hold on. Who's calling in here? Better not be a bill collector. You listen to the Wait a Minute show. This is your host, Jelani JB Bodie. Who am I speaking with?
Patty Cake, microwave.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it is your man, Jay Fish, the microwave, calling into the Wait a Minute show. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing very well, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. This voice that you are speaking with, you're kind of broadcasting a 7-1 bravado. I hear that's what I'm getting from you. The way you're speaking, it's like you're speaking a 7-1 bravado. Am I correct?
Oh well, you're incorrect, sir. It is half 7-1 correct, 7-1 bravado, and the other half is a thank you Miami Dolphins bravado. That's the other half right there. Now I heard you talking about my guys. And I heard, and I appreciate the fact, JB, that you report things the way that they are. Realistically speaking, from what I hear, they're saying that, Jay Ajayi's knees are about to be bone on bone. But as of right now, to me, he's still in his rookie contract. So if it's bone on bone, he still has 2 years left. And at 24 years old, I'll take him. And if this is Adam Gase wanting to make a stand or wanting to make a statement, I swear to my mother, I hope Jarvis Landry next comes out and says, or it's too late now. It's too late now, obviously, but, trade deadline's fast. But the only thing I could have wished is that Jarvis Landry would have did the same thing. Because you don't trade somebody like Jay Ajayi for a 4th-round pick to a title contender. If I'm not mistaken, Adam Gase called him out a week ago. About a week ago, Adam Gase called him out and said, "Hey, it's a running back. You can't try to hit a home run on every play." And then now all of a sudden, you traded him to somebody who's has the best record in the league. Now I'm not going to complain because that's my team. But does that seem like it make any sense to you, JB?
No. I mean, but I guess here's the thing that I can only come away from that. He put him in a great situation. It'd have been different if he had sent him somewhere where he wouldn't have had success or a possibility. Because, like you just said, and I said this too, the Eagles are trying to win right now. It's just like we'll figure out the needs and all that stuff later. If we win this year, then no one will be talking about the needs in 2-3 years. But Adam Gase has been always, even with Jay Ajayi, I said it. He sat him. He didn't even take him on a road trip with the team.
Last year.
And so
we won last year. Exactly.
Yeah, so he's a guy that's just like, yo, I get you up out of here, regardless. I don't care if you're not down, I'll send you somewhere. So I think that's the message But I think a lot of players are going to be like, well, dang, he sent him to a contender. Let me,
It,
act the
it,
fool.
exactly, and that's my whole point, JB. It's like, okay, well, what kind of message are you sending when you say, okay, well, hey, look, if you complain for as long as the contender is going to give me something good for you, then I'll get you up out of here. Look, listen, those guys in that offensive huddle knew that they were doomed at quarterback because, one, Matt Moore was starting for a significant part of the season last year, if I'm not mistaken. They made the playoffs. He didn't do his stuff to win the playoffs. But then now you bring in Jay Cutler out of the broadcasting booth to say, hey, I want you to run this team. And everyone in the huddle knows Jay Cutler's a bum. Or at the very least, we'll say Jay Cutler is at the lower tier of the quarterbacks in the league as of this moment. So then you bring him into the huddle, and what are the guys supposed to think? They're supposed to think, okay, hey, we got this guy who's got a big arm. Yeah, quote unquote, he knows the offense, but yeah, when we look at it on the field, it doesn't look the same way that they're making it seem. So you're going to get a disgruntled locker room now. Jay Ajayi may be one of the only people who's vocally, who's vocally outward about it. But at the same time, what do you expect these guys to do? Like, you have a Miami Dolphins team that won a few games in a row and then turn around and get stoinked. 0 points. By a Baltimore Ravens team who lost their quarterback halfway through the game, and between the two of their quarterbacks, Jelani, they only had 121 yards passing. And you lose 40-0.
Yeah, don't bring up the
you
40.
Helped Jay Ajayi, but you helped Jay Ajayi.
Don't bring up the 40-0 because Mocha listening. We still beefing, about that. But yeah, but
I heard Mocha got a bet pay up.
Mocha what?
I heard Mocha got a bet she need to pay up, but that's neither here nor there. It's not none of my business.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later and Mocha with these bets. But you make valid points, on here. But since I got you on here, how about we go through this question that I was just talking about together, and you just tell me, and I'll give you my list, because I know you don't have a list, so I'll give you my list. I got 5 places that Kirk Cousins could go. Now, Matt Farrell in the chat room has already thrown out some places. He threw out Denver, Arizona, Cleveland, Jets, and Jacksonville. So here's my number 5. You tell me what you think about this. Washington. So I'm like, I put Washington at number 5 because it's like, hey, Garoppolo is in San Fran. Why not just stay here? I mean, it was still an option anyway, so I think that will continue to be an option. So with the Garoppolo, trade, I don't think that changes too much, but it helps maybe Washington out a little bit. But I got Washington is still as an option for him to stay. What you think about that?
Number 5, if you got Washington number 5, I can only agree with that because I think even though they may have, a chance to, franchise him again and all that, there's a bad taste in his mouth when it comes to Washington. If somebody's going to give him a contract that they're not going to give. So I agree.
But Kirk Cousins, if they franchise tag him, of course, they got to pay him $34 million. And he's been rolling the dice the last 2 years. I think he would probably roll that dice one more time if they franchise tag him. But they could transition tag him as well. And if they transition tag him, then someone could match the offer and then they could still get compensated, for him. So that's an option for Washington as well. So he just doesn't, leave and they don't get anything from him.
Yeah, but with San Francisco doing what they did and trading for Jimmy Garoppolo, you would have thought. I mean, it's been a thought since the beginning of this season, and last off season, that because he knows Kyle Shanahan's offense, that he would be the ideal fit for San Francisco. But now they've already traded for a quarterback, so maybe not Kirk Cousins anymore.
Yeah, and that went through my mind too. I was just like, whoa, where did this Garoppolo thing come out? I thought, they were kind of set on Kirk Cousins and they were just going to wait, 8 more weeks, 9 more weeks, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it definitely threw, a monkey wrench. But I got to throw Washington in there because they are still at least in the running. So number 4.